We hope that you are having a wonderful Tuesday. As we think of this week's Bible study, I guess I have to tell you a little bit about where my mind has been. My mind has been trying to figure out exactly how we as Mount Hebron are supposed to continue with all the COVID talk and all the precautions, the phases that we're in as far as a state. I believe that we need to be doing it cleaner and better as the Church of Jesus Christ than the next person, because we are supposed to be the example. And so I ask for your prayers as we meet as a congregation. Of course, as we meet as a congregation, but as we meet as a local board. I ask for your direction because we have such a good local board, and I want to be the leader that God has called me to be. And so I say all that, and I come up to a topic that several years ago I talked about a lot. And it's the topic of miracles. Now, tonight's Bible study is not going to be a true Bible study because, as you can tell, I've got a book. I don't even have my Bible on my lap. But it's not that I'm not going to be referring to things in the Bible. But I'm just, to borrow a phrase from what comes out on Thursdays, I'm just going to share with you my heart this evening and where the Lord led me as we spoke, He and I, about what He wanted to accomplish in this Bible study. Miracles. Do you still believe in them? Are they still a part of our belief, our foundation of our faith? Do we still believe that God performs miracles today? Do you really? I'd like to refer back again, as we did this past Sunday. I'd like to refer back to a story. It's not so much a story as it is a reminder that Mark Batterson shares with us in chapter 5 of the book, The Circle Maker. Mark Batterson starts off this book by talking about a man named Honey. Honey was a guy that was in the generation before Christ. And when the heavens were silent, if you will, Honey was a man that still believed. Honey was a man that believed that God was still listening when His people called out. Honey was known as the rainmaker. When there was a drought, Honey could pray and the heavens would open and water would fall. I want you to notice, and I want you to think on these words that Mark Batterson shares here in chapter 5. Before the first rainfall fell, Honey had to have felt a little foolish, standing inside a circle and demanding rain It's a risky proposition. Vowing that you won't leave the circle until it rains, even riskier. Honey didn't draw a semicircle. He drew a complete circle. You ever prayed and you just drew the semicircle? That way you had a way out. Or would that mean you really didn't believe that God would answer or could answer? Just a thought. There was no escape clause, no expiration date. Honey backed himself into a circle, and the only way out was a miracle. Drawing prayer circles often looks like an exercise in foolishness. But that's faith. Faith is the willingness to look foolish. I want you to check out these examples found in the Word of God. Noah looked foolish building a boat in the middle of a desert. The Israelite army looked foolish marching around Jericho, blowing trumpets. A shepherd boy named David looked foolish charging a giant with a slingshot. The Magi looked foolish tracking a star to Timbuktu or to Bethlehem. Peter looked foolish getting out of a boat in the middle of the Sea of Galilee. And Jesus looked foolish wearing a crown of thorns. But the results speaks for themselves. Noah was saved from the flood. The walls came tumbling down. David defeated Goliath. The Magi discovered the Messiah. Peter walked on water. And Jesus was crowned King of Kings. Foolishness is a feeling that Moses was very familiar with. He had to feel foolish going before Pharaoh, demanding that he let God's people go. He felt foolish raising his staff over the Red Sea, and he must certainly felt foolish promising meat to eat for the entire nation of Israel in the middle of the wilderness. But his willingness to look foolish resulted in epic miracles. The exodus of Israel out of Egypt, the parting of the Red Sea, and the quail miracle. Drawing prayer circles often feels foolish, and the bigger the circle you draw, the more foolish you feel. But if you aren't willing to step out of the boat, you will never walk on water. If you aren't willing to circle the city, the wall will never fall. And if you aren't willing to follow the star, you'll miss out on the greatest adventure of your life. Do you believe in miracles? Just asking. Simple yes or no will work. You might say, well, my heart says yes, but my head says no. I can understand. I mean, we like proof. That's the reason I shared with you those little stories. Think about it. Peter got out of a boat in the middle of the Sea of Galilee. Kind of stupid, isn't it? But you see, it wasn't a random act. It was directions of his master. Peter said, if it's you, Lord, allow me to come to you And Jesus just simply said, come. You talk about Peter beginning to sink when he saw the waves. And we talk about a lack of faith. Well, I see that there's 11 other disciples still in the boat, and they hadn't even tried to get out. You know, Peter sometimes did some weird things. And he denied that he even knew Jesus to people that weren't very important. But Peter was also a man that learned his lessons. And we get to the book of Acts, and he's standing there before these rulers in the Jewish religion. And he says, there is no other name under heaven by which men must be saved. You see, Peter had made a mistake once. He wasn't going to make another one. You see, that's why Peter's one of my heroes. He wasn't perfect, but he didn't give up either. You see, I think that is what causes miracles to happen. It's not that we don't deal with our own insecurities. It's not that we believe that, oh, miracles happen. No, it's that we fight through the periods when we don't have even the faith the size of a mustard seed. It's when we fight through those times that God honors our faith and the miracles come. Here's my miracle that I'm praying for. I want to see our nation united again. I want to see our people not looking for a reason to put someone else down, but looking for reasons to lift them up. I want to see our churches full. And I want to see salvations happening every week. And I want to see people trust in the Lord for complete sanctification. You might say, preacher, maybe that's too much even for God. I'd have to say, I can't believe that way. Because if Jesus rose from the dead, if he came back after defeating death, hell, and the grave, if he took the keys from Satan, then he can do anything. You call me naive if you want, but I'll just tell you this. I believe in miracles. I asked you Sunday if you would to become people that draw circles. Well, I'm drawing mine. Will you join me? I hope that each of you have a wonderful evening. And I ask that you believe. Believe like Peter did. Believe like the children of Israel did. Believe like David did. And then watch God and marvel at who he is. Have a good evening.